You are listening to the Taylor Road Baptist Church Pastors Podcast. We are so excited to have you join with us today. Please make sure that you go and subscribe to our channel so you can get a notification every time we post a new podcast.
Hey, welcome back to the Taylor Road Pastors Podcast. This is Hunter here with Daniel. And Daniel, just go on and take it away.
Yeah, I'll try to. I don't know where I'm going to take it to, but no. Well, welcome again. Like Hunter said, it's good. Thank you for listening, and if you will share this podcast, it's a great way for us to connect with everybody and just share, hopefully, bits and pieces of encouragement throughout the week. First, before I get started, though, I do want to just say a huge word of thanks to two different groups. First of all, Hunter has been our communications guy. Hunter is not going to be with us on staff. He's focusing on full-time studenthood. This is his last semester at Troy, so he felt that it was best, which I totally agree with. He needs to get that degree.
Yeah.
He's got the rest of his life to do, work and focus on career, but thank you, Hunter. Hunter's been putting this podcast together and a lot of other stuff behind the scenes. So I want to say thanks to him.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for all you do.
Well,
seriously.
we're gonna write you a good review one day, a good recommendation when the real world starts coming to call.
When Google comes knocking on the door.
Yeah. Man, if that happens and you get some stock or some shares as an employee, Don't forget us little people.
Sure, I'll probably trade it all for a Klondike bar.
Okay, yeah. Depends on how hot it is. But anyway, and then just want to say a huge thanks to everybody that came and made Vacation Bible School happen last night. We were really kind of up in the air all summer. Do we want to try this? Do we want to just hold out? But, and my whole philosophy as the pastor here has been throughout COVID, we didn't want to be the first to do something. We didn't want to be the first church to open our doors. We didn't want to be, but there just came a point where we were like, and we just need to try it. Schools, for the most part, schools are opening. I know Montgomery Public Schools are going virtual, but Pike Road, private schools, Wetumpka, everybody's going back in person except Montgomery Public Schools. And so we just felt like parents are going to make their decisions regardless.
Sure.
But it was a great night, even though it was, probably a fifth of what we normally have.
Mm-hmm.
If not even less than that. It was just a sweet time, and but it could not have happened without Stephanie, our children's ministry director, and all of the volunteers. I mean, as soon as we came in the door, even me, even the pastor doesn't get a pass. I came in and had my temperature checked, had to answer a questionnaire about, my contact with people. And so I did, as a parent, that made me feel even more safe.
Right.
And so we're looking forward to a great month of August, doing Bible school for 5 Sunday nights. And as I shared yesterday in worship, I just invite our church family to pray that God would save more kids this month than He's saved at Taylor Road in the history of our church. Really just to stick it to Satan.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I'm taking this COVID thing personally. Yeah, it's going right towards Satan.
Tell Satan to shove it. But, I mean, really, that's... Bible school's our greatest evangelistic opportunity with kids, especially every year.
100%.
Yeah, and you think about the fact that we've had to cancel mission trips. We've had to cancel youth camp. We've had to cancel everything.
Oh yeah.
And so for us to do this, I feel like is a big step of faith and obedience. Not every church can do it. Not every church should do it. But within our context, we felt that it was safe. We could do it the right way. And so I'm just praying, man, that we have so many kids to baptize, my arms give out.
Yeah. Especially with VBS. I'd venture to say, like, next to Treats the Town, and we'll see what we do with that. This is, in kids ministry, like the Super Bowl of
it is.
Kids ministry, and I would have felt empty as like someone who's done VBS all his life if we didn't do it. So I'm glad Stephanie innovated a way to...
Well, and I'm going to continue to brag on those folks because, Andy Stanley, who's pastor in Atlanta, he said one time, and I hope I never forget it, he said, do for one what you wish you could do for 1,000.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so, and a lot of the Taylor Road folks know my story of being in a Christian band. And, I'm not, I mean, not the rock star by he never was, but that was kind of our philosophy. And still really my philosophy in preaching is I'm going to preach to 4 people. We were going to play for 4 people, just as we would if we were in a packed out arena.
Oh yeah.
Just because the size of the crowd, that you don't give more or less based on the numbers.
Mm-mm.
And to see last night, I mean, we had right under 50 kids. We had a few of our kids that were registered that we knew in advance weren't going to be here on that first night. They were out of town. But you got 50, maybe a little over 50 kids this month. We're not going to give it any less effort than if we had 400 to 500. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's smaller. But I'm going to tell you, just to brag on Abigail Patrick, who does the kids' music, that girl was up there singing and dancing and interacting with those kids as if she was in a normal year where that auditorium
oh my gosh,
was packed out.
I was actually a little after VBS. I went to the church parking lot to skateboard because I'm in a midlife crisis in my 20s. And,
which means you're only going to live to 40 something.
But she texted me asking me what I was doing, and I was just like, oh, nothing much. I was like, I feel like and she responded, I feel like I just got done with a marathon.
An aerobics class.
Yeah.
I mean, she gave it 110%.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I was in our arts and crafts, and Wilmore and J.D. Bonner were doing games, and, you got the teachers doing Bible stories. It just blessed me as the pastor and as a parent as well, just to see that regardless, again, of the crowd size, it doesn't matter. These kids deserve our best. And our folks just really rose to the occasion and really blessed me. So, but in the time that we've got left, just a few minutes, we've been going through the Beatitudes. My dad used to say that we could break down that word Beatitudes as this is what your attitude should be as a Christ follower. This should be the life that we live. And so we talked last week about those who mourn, the comfort that we find. And that really, I told Hunter just before we started recording, that inspired me. In the month of September, we're going to go through a few of the Psalms of Lament. And what does it mean to worship while you weep? And can we still worship and weep at the same time? And so just kind of gleaning from those. But this morning, I want to just read verse 5 of Matthew chapter 5, where Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And just, these Beatitudes are so countercultural and so backwards to our fallen world.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, look out for number 1 and
well, and that's what you hear, and as a college student, you're about to graduate and get into the world of career and all that stuff. But that's the American philosophy. And I'm not going to pick on other nations because I've never lived in another nation, but that's Western philosophy. That's the worldview, is that you fight your way to the top. That's the American dream, to inherit the earth, right? To own your stuff and to be rich and to all this stuff. So we could say that the American dream is inheriting the earth.
Yeah.
And so Jesus says, well, that's what really as humans we long for, is to inherit the earth, but the path to really inheriting the earth is different in the kingdom of God than it is the kingdom of man. Kingdom of man says if you want to inherit the earth, you lie, you cheat, you steal, you're cutthroat. You sacrifice your family on the altar of your career.
Oh, yeah.
You sacrifice your integrity on the altar of your career. We are consumed with the god of money and materialism. And that's what we're going to talk about in midweek this week as we talk about the first 3 commands of idolatry, and having no other god but him. And so that in our American culture, you inherit the earth by pushing everybody out of your way, even your family, even your relationship with the Lord sometimes, and work, 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 work to, quote, is it Beyonce?
Word,
Yeah.
word.
Anyway, I don't want her fan club, any killer bees coming after me, the beehive. But anyway, some of you are listening going, what is he talking about? But anyway,
Is that DC talk?
yeah, don't start. I will start rapping. But Jesus says that the way of the kingdom is meekness. And I know as a kid, I would hear meek, and it rhymes with weak. So I was like, oh, we got to be weak? What? Mm-hmm. But that word meekness literally means power under control. And it gives us imagery of a wild horse that is tamed. You capture a wild horse, a wild stallion, you break it. You break its will, not, out of negativity, but you harness its power and use it for something useful.
You make it submissive.
Right. It's submissive. And so that's what that word meek means. It means power under control. That, yeah, I could go out and use my ability and my talents and all this kind of stuff and just live for me. Live for number one. I'm going to inherit the earth and make six figures or whatever it is, and everybody is just leaving a wake of disaster, around me. But Jesus says that if you really want to inherit the kingdom that's going to fill the earth, the way by which we as children of God do that is through meekness. And we live in a world that is void of meekness. We're all about, voicing our strong opinions. It doesn't matter whose feelings get hurt. We're all about voicing our, whatever views on stuff. And we said this a couple of weeks ago. Am I more interested in making a difference or making a point?
Yeah.
Jesus was the consummation of meekness. It means the fullness of Jesus could have snapped his fingers and brought an end to everything and everybody. Jesus, this was, one of the things that Satan tempted him with was, hey, you come up on this mountain, I'll give you the earth if you'll just bow down and worship me, or you'll throw yourself off the pinnacle of the temple and angels will come. And Jesus resisted that temptation.
Yeah.
Jesus could have exercised his power for personal gain.
And I think that's a perfect example of the meekness we're talking about.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with humility.
Yeah.
And Jesus could have flexed on Satan big time right then, and he chose not to. And
you can't tell me one time in the Gospels where Jesus used his power for personal gain.
Oh yeah.
He came to use his power for our gain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's meekness. That's power under control. It says that in Philippians that he laid aside some of his glory. He harnessed his power for 33 years, not for his gain, but for our good. And so as we think about the backwardness of the kingdom of God in this fallen earth, that's just really kind of a challenge we want to leave you with today is how can you live out meekness? What does it mean to be meek? To live with humility, as Hunter said, in submissiveness or submission, whatever that word is, but submissive to the power of God and the authority of God in our lives. So I hope you guys have a great week. I know we're trying to keep this bite size, if you will. Sometimes we ramble longer than we should.
Oh, yeah.
But church, we love you. Don't forget midweek live on YouTube and Facebook.com/Taylor Road every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. So hope to see you there.
Again, thank you so much for joining with us today. Please make sure that you go and subscribe to our channel so you can get those notifications. If you'd like to know more about Taylor Road Baptist Church, we're at taylorroad.org, and we are located at 1685 Taylor Road, Montgomery, Alabama 36117.